we will kick things off. I'm going to hand it over to Kevin, who's going to introduce Worldwide Soundscapes, which is the first global passive acoustic monitoring metadatabase and network. And he is way ahead of me sharing his screen, which is great.
Thank you very much, Alex, for the introduction. And I'm pleased to give a 7-minute talk today about the Worldwide Soundscapes project. And some of it is going to be about the synthesis that we recently published, together with some co-leads that are listed here and a very long list of authors that I unfortunately cannot put on this page. So today we're broadly interested, yes, it goes to the next slide, in the question of what is the planet made of in terms of sounds. You know that a variety of sound sources exist, and especially our community is interested more specifically in those of biodiversity. And the interesting thing here is that sound is a very fundamental general phenomenon. It's just a mechanical wave that propagates through media, gases or solids. And we like to take advantage of that in our network in the Worldwide Soundscapes project to monitor soniferous biodiversity, so the biodiversity that uses and emits sounds. You can see some examples here of how we like to deploy our recorders in a variety of habitats and ecosystems. So this is to honor the people who wait to great lengths to record these extraordinary sounds in these challenging habitats in the freshwater, marine, and terrestrial realm. And after this illustration, I'd like to tell you more about what the project is actually about. So it first started a bit more than 3 years ago as a database of metadata for passive acoustic monitoring. To date, we have a few hundred contributors that have joined what became a loosely connected network sharing news about science soundscapes on a global scale. And our database comprises almost 300 metadata sets for the terrestrial realm, about 100 for the ocean, and relatively few at the moment for the freshwater and subterranean realms, but more are coming. We are including data sets into this database that respond to the following criteria. This has to be passive monitoring. We're not emitting any sounds. This is really about recording the ambient sound in diverse ecosystems. We are using stationary sensors because otherwise things would be quite complicated. And we distinguish ourselves from citizen science projects by requiring a certain level of replication in space and time. Most of what is in our database, actually all of it, is hosted on this website, whose link you can see here, and I'm going to take you to it. This is hosted on EcoSound Web, which is an ecoacoustics online collaborative platform. And you can see here a spatial overview of what we have in the database. And you might be interested as a practitioner, as a PAM practitioner, in what kind of PAM projects exist in your region, what kind of ecosystems have been sampled. You can see here that the different colors correspond to different ecosystems, and you can filter them here and look at what exactly is of interest to you. This is the first use and most important one about the WWSS database. It's like your phone book or an inventory of what has been done in terms of passive acoustic monitoring worldwide in all ecosystems. But we can go in further detail because for every collection or data set that has been compiled here, we can go inside and look at, for instance, what the Australian Antarctic Division has done around Casey Station in those different years. You can see the exact timing and duration of the recordings they made here in the marine realm. And what we were interested in while we worked on our synthesis was to provide an overview of the current state of passive acoustic monitoring sampling on the globe. And so we've done a variety of figures, and this is one of those that is showing how the different sampling sites are distributed in space along the latitudinal and the topographical gradients. We used this to identify some sampling gaps, so regions or geographic gradients that are currently underexplored in acoustic terms. And we also went further by selecting a very small subset of recordings that we systematically analyzed to find out how many sounds are occupying the soundscape that are of natural, of human, and of geophysical origin. And we did this to illustrate what the database's potential is for answering research questions of macroecological, conservation biology, or phenological order, just as a few examples. So if you're interested in this, you can look at the paper that is linked below here. But more importantly, today is about connecting with the WILDLABS community. So this is really a call out for anyone who's interested in participating in the WWSS project. You can simply just use the data. The metadata are archived on Zenodo. I can open that link for you here. You can download all the CSVs. They're described. If they are not accurately described, just let me know. And you can also download the demonstration recordings that we analyzed, those that I mentioned before for answering the ecological questions. And I can just show you a sneak peek of, for instance, what has been done in Australia, in Perth. You can see here in the estuary that some recordings were made. And for instance, this one is an interesting one where we can see mulloway fish calls down here that are composing the biophony of this soundscape, while some anthropophony here from the harbor sounds are found. So this is the level of detail you can get. Some collaborator of mine recently used those sounds for an acoustic exhibit. There's all kinds of things are possible because these recordings are open and Creative Commons licensed. If you're interested in participating in the project more actively, the project is open and will remain open for contributors. Just drop me a line. Here's my email address, and that's my timer that says that I should be finished. What's coming up next is going to be not a synthesis of metadata, but a synthesis based on the recordings themselves that are referenced by the database. So if you're interested in this, just don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you very much for listening. There's no time for questions, but I'm glad I had these 7 minutes.
Thank you so much, Kevin. I have a question for you that I'm going to put in the chat about like standardization of data because I want to ask it and I want you to answer it, but I'm going to put it in the chat. And I'm going to also, but thank you for that great presentation.